Welcome to Everyday Magic, where we explore adding pops of magic to your everyday life. I'm Michele, shamanic energy alchemist and owner of Living Moon Meditation, where I help people find balance in their personal, professional, and spiritual lives. It's my honor to help you incorporate magic into your mundane life. Let's get started. Love Everyday Magic podcast? I'd love to have you give me a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts or on your favorite podcast app. And if you'd like to support the podcast, please check out my support levels. For as little as $7 per month, you can help keep me going. You'll find it at gumroad.com/livingmoonmeditation. I have the link in the show notes for you. We're coming up on the winter solstice, and I want to talk to you about two things in regards to this time of the year. The first is planting seeds, and the second is lights. So let's start with planting seeds. Magical practitioners often align their practice with the lunar cycles and phases of the moon. It's quite common to use the new or dark moon for setting intentions for things that you want to manifest, grow, and add to your life, and to work full moon magic for things that you want to lessen in your life. Now, the reason for this is simple. You want to use the growing moon to increase and the waning moon to decrease. So it is logical for manifesting magic from the time of the dark moon to the full moon, and to practice banishing work during the time from the full moon to the new moon. But the solar cycles are also a prime opportunity to work magic, especially for magic that will take longer to manifest. Sometimes you can work magic in a month, but other times it takes seasons or years. Now, when you know what you are trying to work in your life, you can choose the correct astronomical cycle to work with, whether that be the lunar cycle or the solar cycle. So in terms of the solar cycle, the solstices are good times to start a magical working. Now, specifically for the winter solstice, because that's where we're at in the season, the winter solstice is a time to work magic and set intentions for growth. Now, we don't think of winter as being a season of growth. We tend to think of that more with the summer solstice, or at least with the spring equinox. But actually, astronomically speaking, the winter solstice is the better time to work magic for growth. We tend to think of winter as a time of death and dormancy, but when we're planting things and we let the ground rest in the winter, it prepares for the growing that will happen in the spring and summer. If you don't let the land rest, you don't let it lay fallow for a season, then it kind of tends to wipe out the nutrients in the ground and it won't be as fertile for growing. But also, a lot of times we can start seeds inside and then transplant them outside, or we sometimes plant seeds outside in the winter and they start the process over winter as the seed breaks down, and then the plant will grow during the spring. So you can see, hopefully, that the winter solstice is a time for growth magic. Now, the seeds that we plant in winter will grow in spring, and when we plant magical seeds at the winter solstice, they use the quiet time and the stillness of the season to grow. Now, the sun reaches its shortest height in the sky at the moment of the winter solstice. And from that point on, the sun is reborn and begins to grow higher in the sky each day until it reaches its zenith on the summer solstice. So with the sun, we see this growing cycle too. We tend to think because it is the shortest day of the year at the winter solstice, and because the sun is at its least high point in the sky throughout the year on the winter solstice, we tend to think of not being a time of growth. But from that point forward, the sun is starting to grow. So it's starting to grow during the winter. And so if we plant our seeds of magic for growth and intention during the time of the winter solstice, we will see that that works for our magical workings in our favor. Now, winter solstice is the time to plant those magical seeds for growth. With good care and proper follow through on the intentions, the magic that you plant now will grow and bloom in the spring.
Are you tired of feeling stuck? Let's shift your energy. Start with my free quiz I made just for you. You'll get personalized tips for getting unstuck based on where your blocks are. You can find it at bit.ly/getunstuckchakraquiz. I have the link in the show notes for you.
So that's what I wanted to say about planting seeds at the winter solstice. Now, I also want to talk about lights, because my favorite part of the winter holiday season is the importance placed on lights. And it doesn't matter what holiday you're talking about or what the religious connections are. Doesn't matter if you're talking about the solstice, if you're talking about Yule, if you're talking about Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever. There are lights involved with all these winter holidays. And those are just a few that I named. There are more winter holidays, and they all focus on light. And part of it is because it's a dark time of the year. So, again, it doesn't matter what holiday you're talking about in the winter, it revolves around light and ultimately the winter solstice. Now, the winter solstice, as I said a few minutes ago, marks the shortest day of the year. For several days, the sun rises to the same point and appears to stop. And after the solstice, the sun begins to gradually creep higher in the sky each day, and the amount of light grows during the winter season. For someone who thrives in light, the short, dark days are hard. And I'm one of those people. I love the summertime. I love light. And I haven't been diagnosed with seasonal affective disorder, but I suspect that I may have that. Or if not, I'm very adjacent to seasonal affective disorder. So I struggle in the winter because of the lack of light. And even when it's daytime and the sun is out, it's more gray in the winter than it is during the spring, summer, and even the fall. So I struggle with the winter season because of that. And also because it's cold, and I'm from the American South and I like heat. That's why I like summer. And living now in Pennsylvania, I really struggle with the cold in the winter. But anyway, so the winter is hard for me and the darkness is hard for me. So I really like the winter holidays that revolve around the solstice and all the light associated with them. And my two favorite ways to celebrate the return of light at this time of the year is to kindle the Hanukkah lights and to have a Yule log. Now, during Hanukkah, I'm able to see the light grow each day as we light one light on the first night and add one more each day to culminate with 8 on the final night. And then when I create a Yule log, I end up burning it after my Yule meal. I will write my wishes for the new year on paper and then add them to the log. And then I burn the entire log. And I really enjoy watching my hopes being consumed by the light and the metaphorical taking up of my intentions on the smoke from my Yule log. So all that to say, I really love this season. Well, the holiday season that revolves around the winter solstice and all the light and everything that goes with that. Not that I love the season of winter, because I don't, but there's all that anyway of what I wanted to say with lights and planting seeds on the solstice. So I hope you have a happy solstice season, and whatever holiday you celebrate this time of year, I hope that your days are merry and bright. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Everyday Magic. It's truly been my pleasure to talk to you today. If you like this episode, or you think it will be useful for someone else, please consider leaving a review on your favorite podcast app. If you've got any questions, send me a DM on Instagram at Living Moon Meditation. Remember, it's all about real magic for your real life. See you next time.